Blast me to Alectia! It's time for the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium journey. Issue 41, Part 2, Gallery, Rules and Playthrough. Hello and welcome back to the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium journey. I'm back with issue 41 and we are taking a look here at the painted Chronomancer. So I've painted them up with the Aeon Stave and the activated Chronometron. And I think he looks pretty good. I'm going to be building my second one, yes I have two, with the alternate stave and the closed Chronometron. But here he is, looking really snazzy in the colours of the Saltec dynasty. I've given him my usual commander sort of level paint job, giving him some nice highlighting. I've even varnished the Chronometrons just to help them stand out a little bit with some hard coat. I've also given the entire model a coat of Storm Shield to give him some protection, and I've even painted the rim with hard coat as well to protect against wear and tear on the battlefield. He's also received my standard Imperium basing scheme, which is Astrogranite, Rackar Flesh Dry Brush, then a slight coating with some Valhallan Blizzard. But here he is, rather nice looking model. I quite like him. He is nice and easy to go together, and he was quite fun to paint as well. If you would like to know how I painted any of the components on him, let me know, and I'll use my spare components to do a little paint video for you. But on with the next issue. So we've got some new rules to look at, and then we've got our brand new mission pack to start. So here we are back with issue 41, and it's time for us to go through the new pages of rules, as well as the new pages that create our brand new battle pack. So let's go vertical and we'll take a look. So we'll skip over the parts we've already covered, which was the rules, the lore, not rules, just the lore, the build guide and paint guide. So first off, we've got the rules for our Chronomancer. So we got a choice of weaponry. So he's got the Aeon Stave, which I've equipped him with this particular one. Or else you've got the Entropic Lance, which is the second one. And each one has a dual profile. So you got a different type of profile for melee and a different type for shooting. So the Entropic Lance is pretty brutal. It's a strength 8, -3, D3 +3 sort of weapon, assault 1. So it helps add some tank busting abilities to the Necron army. And you got his Chrono Tendrils, which help him in combat. He makes 3 additional attacks. Nice, that makes him pretty combat-y cryptic. And we got his usual rules. So you got domestic advisors. So if your army's Battleforged, each crypt deck you can take 2 instead of just 1 for one slot. He has the Time Splinter Mantle, which is his backpack here, which gives him a 4+ invulnerable. And the Chronometron's an ability you can activate in the command phase. Select a unit within 9 inches until the start of your next command phase. You can re-roll charge rolls for that unit. And that unit also has a 5+ invulnerable save. So that can make your more fragile units, like warriors, a little bit more survivable by giving them that added invulnerable save. And Scorpion Destroyers will benefit more from the re-rollable charge, which is pretty cool. And on the back we got some tutorials. So tutorial at the bottom about how to use a Chronometron. Here we see him using it on the Scorpion Destroyers, giving them the re-roll ability plus the invulnerable save. And the Aeon Stave has a nice little ability that makes it phase through invulnerable saves. So the Captain's Iron Halo or the Lieutenant Storm Shield, for example, would not be able to work. So the character in question would be relying on their armor alone. So the next part of our rules section is we're going to be starting some more of the advanced rules. So this one is the advanced rules on actions. So actions help give a little bit more of a Lost the word. Brain's gone dead. Thematic way of playing your games. Basically allows missions will detail what actions can and can't be done, and then you'll get certain units will be able to perform those actions. There's also the rules at Psychers can do specific psychic actions. So we got our librarian here doing his bit on the infiltrators. So yeah, there'll be more more information on actions in future issues. We got a tutorial for actions, so if you're not too sure how actions work, this gives you a quick know-how on how to do it. We also do get at the back of this issue a set of 5 objective markers, which are usable for the actions. I'm not going to cut these out yet, because I don't want to damage the issue before we get to the end of the video. So I'll just use a standard objective marker for this mission. And as I've got a spare set of objective markers, I'll cut these out and glue them over those. So then we've got the psychic actions again covered. And we've got our step-by-step guide on how to do those actions. So, pretty handy. So, we are now beginning a brand new mission pack. So this is the Initiate mission pack. So taking place on Alectia, this mission pack is going to be focusing heavily on the Sisters of Battle versus the Necrons, with a little bit of aid from the Space Marines, who are backing them up, as they don't want to lose any more ground than the Necrons have already taken. So it's a little bit more in-depth than with our scout missions. So you muster your armies, you read your briefing, place your objective markers, you create your battlefield, then you some missions in this pack will have secondary objectives, so these will be determined. Then you determine the attacker and defender. Most missions will tell you who is who, but in the case that it doesn't, simply roll off, the winner gets to choose attack or defend. Placing your units into reserves and reinforcements, so there'll be plenty of opportunity to put your flayed ones into reserves. Deploying your armies, determine your first turn, begin your battle, end your battle, and determining your victor. So I think it's time we played the first mission, so restore power. So obviously we've got a little bit of a power problem. So the Hive Moon of Alectia, the powers have gone out and everyone's in the dark. So a squad of Space Marines have been sent in to try and reactivate the generators. So here we go. Okie dokie, we are all set up and ready for our first mission of the Initiate pack. So we are attempting to restore power. We have a single objective set 3 inches from the centre here. The Space Marines must reach it and reactivate the power, while the Necrons here must deter them as best they can. I've kept the flayed ones off the table and I'll bring them in later on when I know where they'll be needed. For the moment though, I've got 10 Gore's Flayer Necron Warriors plus the Chronomancer deployed, ready to do some time-bending shenanigans. So, restore power. The situation on Alectia is dire indeed. The remaining Battle Sisters, the Order of our Martyred Lady, are fractured, split between the crumbling remains of the Basilica of St. Marcius and the war-torn streets of the Hive City. The Necrons have managed to sever the plasma networks that power the Basilica's gun batteries and shield generators. Only with the assistance of a Space Marine strike team can the power be restored and the inevitable defeat be reversed. Necrons, Chronomancer, seal their fate. The Chronomancer foresees a Necron victory. His attacks on Imperial infrastructures have drawn the Space Marines into his trap. With the flayed ones gathered at his side, the Necron Cryptek aims to destroy the Ultramarine strike team before they can reach their objective and reactivate the power networks. Space Marines, Primaris Lieutenant, activate the generator. The Battle Sisters defending Alectia Prime's surface are without power, leaving them vulnerable to aerial assault. The Space Marine Strike Force must venture into the Hive City's lightless depths and reactivate the primary power network feeding the Basilica's guns. Deadly threats lurk in the darkness, awaiting their arrival. Portents of Doom, or the Might of Heroes. Let's begin turn 1 and find out which will become victorious. So we'll see who gets first turn first with a dice roll. 6 for the Necrons. Turn 1 has completed, and not a lot happened. Both sides moved up and rolled absolutely dismal for their advance rolls. I think the person who moved the furthest was the Lieutenant, who got a advance of 8, but I just rolled really bad on my advance rolls that turn. So let's begin turn 2, and hopefully things will be a little better. Okay, turn 2 went a little better. The only thing that fluffed for me was my Lieutenant shooting. I got a double 6 to hit, but a double 1 to wound. So I didn't get much off with his Volkite. I forgot to mention turn 1 I did lose 1 Necron warrior to a smite attack. And I lost a further 3 this turn to a smite attack. I got D3 mortal wounds, that's not too bad. I did manage to get back up though from the shooting that happened in the following shooting phase, so my numbers haven't been dwindled that much. Space Marines are getting closer being able to do their action, but we still have quite a lot left to play for. But I think the flayed ones are going to be coming in. So let's get on to turn 3. Turn 3 went a little better for the Space Marines. The Necron warriors are now non-existent thanks to a nice charge with the Lieutenant and the Assault Intercessors. 2 power weapons just carved through them. The Chronomancer's down at the bottom there. He managed to luck out with the Librarian and rolling a 3 for his charge range. So next time he can do better. I brought my Necrons, flayed ones down over there, thinking it would be a perfect place to charge the Assault Intercessors, but they failed a 9-inch charge with a 7. Still, we could get close enough and wipe them out. We'll have to see what happens in turn 4. And to turn 4 is a pretty progressive turn, mainly for the Perils of the Warp. My Librarian cast Smite on a double 6, and I got another 6 for his mortal wounds. Sadly though, he got a 2 for his d6 mortal wounds. It's fine though, the Lieutenant followed up with 2 shots from his Volkite, hitting on a 3 and a 5, and wounding on a double 6. So that's 2 mortal wounds plus 2 wounds. The Chronomancer managed to save 1, but he lost 3 of his remaining 2 wounds. I'll let you do the maths. The Necrons were still out of range for a charge, so they have not managed to get into combat. So it's now down to the final turn. The Space Marines are winning at 1 point. The Necron player, only way they can win is to wipe out everything and get points. But I think it's going to be a draw to possibly a Space Marine win. But let's just see how we do on the 5th and final turn. And there we have it. The game is a tie. Managed to perform the reactivation action once. It was very vague. It didn't mention when the action is actually completed, so I just went with at the end of the move from the end of the movement phase to the end of the turn. So I scored myself 1 point for that last turn. Didn't get the score this time because the Necrons charged on in, and they've scored themselves a single point for wiping out the Assault Intercessors. I needed a few more wounds in order to wipe out the flayed ones. The Lieutenant didn't do too well, sadly, with his Power Sword. The Librarian actually did better, killing 2 to the Lieutenant's 1. But that is the end of the turn, so that means we are on a draw. But we completed the action, so that means the power's back on. Okay, sisters, you can stop being scared of the dark now. I hope they didn't hear me, because next issue we've got dun 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 our first Sisters of Battle model, the Canoness. So we learned to paint her, which I'll be doing a video for. Then we have a mission where she leads a squad of Assault Intercessors and I think aggressors to try and re-sanctify the ground the Necrons have tarnished with their Xenos blood. Well, oil. And then in the next issue, 43, we get a new paint, so Stormhost Silver, and a small layer brush. So we're going to start learning some edge highlighting for our metal on our models. We get new faction rules to do that, the Sororitas, and we learn about the Thousand Suns. So there we have it, a rather short but fun mission. I quite enjoyed that, actually. I think for a replay, I might bring the flayed ones in close to the Chronomancer, or possibly deploy them with the Chronomancer so that they get the ability benefit of his Chronometrons to reroll their charge range. It was really needed. I just rolled terrible for charges this entire game, except for the Space Marines. They managed to get a 10 from here. So that's definitely up the building and the other side. Psychic phase, though, my Librarian has actually performed pretty well for a change. Well done. Not only did he get his psychic powers off a total of 3 times out of potential... 4 times out of potential 5. No. Yes, I was right the first time. No, I wasn't right the second time. Because psychic phase at there, psychic phase, psychic phase, psychic phase. Yeah, 4 out of 5 turns, he's managed to get his psychic powers off. Although the 4th time he did suffer 3 wounds from a Perils of the Warp attack. But he's actually outshone himself, and I think he's earned a little bit of more bonus points in my book, I think, for him. I'm definitely going to write down onto his battle record some amazing techniques and victories. But there we have it. Space Marines, there's not a lot I could have done differently. Really, I wanted some better advanced rolls. But I really fluffed up. I could have got onto the objective quicker, but as it was, turn 4 was the best I could do. And even that took a charge up to the Necrons in order to get there. But that is it. There's not a lot else to say, so I will say thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. Also, there are my affiliate links in the description down below. And all that's left for me to do is say thank you again for watching. And I will see you next time for more mad content. Goodbye.